Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Tas World. So today we are going to learn chapter 2 of grade 6 mathematics, which is whole numbers. So this is the second module of this chapter. If you didn't watch the first video, the video link is given in the description below. You can go and watch it. So let's begin the show without any further delays. So in the previous video, we learned natural numbers and whole numbers, predecessor and successor, and number line. And in this video, we are going to learn properties of whole numbers, and the properties are closure property, commutative property, associative property, distributive property, and identities of addition and multiplication, and also patterns in whole numbers. So let's begin with closure property. So every property states one rule, and closure property states that when two whole numbers are considered in an operation, the result should be a whole number. So the operation may be any, maybe addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. Right. But when we do any operation between two whole numbers, the result should be a whole number. If it is a whole number, then that operation holds true for closure property. And if that operation doesn't give the answer as a whole number, then it doesn't hold true for closure property. Now let's see the different properties. Closure property of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So first operation is addition. So we are going to see closure property of addition. The sum of any two whole numbers is a whole number. So if we add any two whole numbers, the answer is a whole number. So here we are adding the whole number. So the operation is add. So here the operation is add. Now, when two whole numbers are added, the answer will be a whole number. Now, let's see an example. Now, if we take 23 and 32. Now, we should add them, right? So, 23 plus 32 will be, so 3 plus 2 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5. So, we will get our answer as 55. Right. Now here 23 is a whole number and 32 is a whole number. So two whole numbers are getting added. Now the answer is a whole number. Now if we take a smaller example and see. So 6 plus 7. So 6 plus 7 is 13. So 13 is a whole number, 7 is a whole number, 6 is a whole number. So if you take any operation and solve it, so if you take any operation in addition and solve it, the answer will be a whole number. Then we can say that closure property holds true for addition. It holds true for addition. So now let's see the next operation. Now we will see closure property of multiplication. Now, the product of any two whole numbers is a whole number. So if we multiply two whole numbers, so here the operation is multiply. Now if we multiply two whole numbers, the answer will be a whole number. So let's take an example, right? Now let's take 6 multiplied by 7. So you can say 6 is a whole number, 7 is a whole number. And we took the operation as multiplication only. So 6 sevens are is 42, right? Now if we take another example, 2 into 7. So 2 sevens are 14. So 2 is a whole number, 7 is a whole number, 14 is a whole number. So you can see in these two cases, it is working. right? So if you take any operation, if you take any problem in multiplication and solve it, the answer will be a whole number. So we can say that closure property holds true for multiplication. So closure property holds true for multiplication. Now let's see closure property of subtraction. Now if we do 5 minus 4, the answer will be 1. So 5 is a whole number, 4 is a whole number, 1 is a whole number. But in this case, it's working. The answer is coming as a whole number. But in some cases, it doesn't work. So if we take 3 minus 4, 3 is a whole number, 4 is a whole number. Right? Now, we will start from 3 and do 4 jumps. So 1 jump, second jump, third jump, fourth jump. Now we landed on the third jump only, we landed on 0. Now if we go to the fourth jump, what will be behind the 0? So behind the 0, we will be having minus 1. So our answer for 3 minus 4 will be minus 1. So minus 1 is a negative number, right? So minus 1 is a negative number. But however, negative numbers cannot be considered as whole numbers, right? So we can say that closure property does not hold true for subtraction. So closure property does not hold true for subtraction. So the whole number minus whole number is not always a whole number. Sometimes it may be a whole number, but not always. So we can't say that in some cases it works, so we can say that it holds true. We can't say like that. So if it doesn't work in one case also, we should say that closure property does not hold true for subtraction. So you can see in this case it is working, but 3 minus 4 is a negative number. The answer will be a negative number. So it's not working in this case. So we can say closure property does not hold true for subtraction. Now let's see closure property of division. So whole number divided by a whole number is not always a whole number. So here also the same, how it goes for subtraction. So in some cases also it doesn't work here. So if we take an example of division, now let's take 6 divided by 3. Now if we do 6 divided by 3, we are getting 2. But if we do the same numbers only, we will take another example. So in this case, it's working, right? 6 is a whole number, 3 is a whole number, 2 is a whole number. But if we do 3 divided by 6, the answer is not a whole number. So the answer is 0.5. And the 0.5 is a decimal. So 0.5 is a decimal number. But however, decimal numbers cannot be considered as whole numbers, right? So we can say that closure property does not hold true for division. So it does not hold true for division. So in some cases it works, but in some cases it doesn't work. So whole number divided by whole number is not always a whole number. Sometimes it may be a whole number, but not always. So we should say that closure property does not hold true for division. Now let's move on to the next property. So that is commutative property. Now, what is commutative property states? So commutative property states upon the order, right? Now, what it means? Like in commutative property, the order in which the numbers are operated doesn't matter. Like if we take addition operation and see 3 plus 2. So 3 plus 2, as you all know, is 5. Now if we do 2 plus 3. So what am I doing here? First, I'm adding 3 plus 2. Okay. But here I'm interchanging. 2 will come here and 3 will come here. We are just interchanging. But if we do 2 plus 3 also, we will get 5 only. Why? Because why we are getting 5 in both the cases? Because addition holds true for commutative property. Right? So you can see this is commutative property. If we arrange the numbers in different order also, the answer should come same. If it comes the same, then that operation holds true for commutative property. And if doesn't, it doesn't hold true for commutative property. So now let's see all the operations. So now we will see commutative property of addition. Now you can add two whole numbers in any order. So a plus b is equal to b plus a. Means if we take a as 6 and b as 7. So what is 6 plus 7? We'll do the same here also. So what is 6 plus 7? 6 plus 7 is 13. And again, here we will do 7 plus 6. So we are just interchanging, right? 6 plus 7 only. So this is also 6 and 7. Here also there are 6 and 7 only. But what is the difference? We are interchanging. Like a plus b and b plus a. Now 7 plus 6, if you operate also, is also 13. So you can see it's equal in both the cases. Right? So if you take any problem of addition and interchange the numbers and then solve them, the answer will be the same. So we can say commutative property holds true for addition. So commutative property holds true for addition. Now let's see multiplication. So commutative property of multiplication. So you can multiply two whole numbers in any order. Like if we take a and b as whole numbers, a into b is equal to b into a. Now how can we say that? Let's take an example and see. So again let's take the same number 6 into 7 and here it will be 7 into 6. We are just changing the operation here. You can take any number. Now if we do 6 into 7, we will get 42. And if we do 7 into 6, we will get 42 only, right? So 42 is equal to 42. Then these two operations are also equal to these two, right? Now, if you take any operation in multiplication, the answer will be same. If you interchange the numbers also, the answer will be same in both the cases. So we can see that commutative property holds true for multiplication. So it holds true for multiplication and addition. Now let's see subtraction and division. So however, subtraction and division are not commutative. Why we can say that subtraction and division are not commutative? Let's see an example and see why. So now if I do 12 minus 8. So 12 minus 8 is 4 as you all know. So we are getting a whole number. Now we should interchange them, right? 8 minus 12. Now 8 minus 12 is minus 4. So as I said, the numbers which are minus like this, minus 1, minus 4, minus 23. and so on. So these numbers are known as negative numbers. So these numbers are known as negative numbers, right? Then, but here in both the cases we are getting 4 only. But here it is a negative number and here it's a whole number, right? So we can say that subtraction does not hold true for commutative property. Now let's see division. 6 divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now let's interchange them. 2 divided by 6. Now if we do 2 divided by 6, we will get 1 by 3. So is 3 and 1 by 3 equal? Obviously no, right? So they are not equal. Now if you take any problem in subtraction and division and interchange their numbers and solve it, you will not get the same answer in both the cases. So we can say subtraction and division are not commutative. Now let's learn associative property. So what does associative property states? So it states that grouping of terms doesn't matter. Like if we take addition and C, so A plus B plus C. So in associative property, there will be 3 numbers. Now again, we will do the same operation only and same sum. Now here, we will group A and T and here we will group B and C. Now what is the difference if we group? So here we will do A plus B first and this sum will be added to C. So first we will do A plus B and then add C to the sum. And here we will do the opposite. Here we will do B plus C first and this sum will be added to A. Right. Here we are doing A plus B first and here we are doing B plus C first. Right. This is known as grouping of terms. So in associative property there will be 3 numbers and we will group the terms and see if in both the cases the answer will come same or no. So if in both the cases the answer is coming same, then that operation holds true for associative property. And if the answer is not coming same, then it doesn't hold true for associative property. So this is the meaning of associative property. Now let's learn associative property of addition. So you can group and add 3 whole numbers in any order. Now, if we consider A, B and C as whole numbers, the first step will be A plus B plus C. Right. And again we will do the same thing only, A plus B plus C only. But we will group the terms. We will group A and B in the first operation. Why? Because it means that first we will do A plus B and then add C. Here we will group B plus C. Why? Because here we will do B plus C first and then add the sum to A. Right. So you can see the difference, right? Now, this is what it means. But how can we say that this operation is equal to this operation? We can't say like that only, right? Let's take an example and then see. So let's take 6 plus 7 plus 2. So we will do the same thing here also. 6 plus 7 plus 2. Now here we will group 6 and 7. Here we will group 7 and 2. So here we will do 6 plus 7 first and then add the sum to 2. And here we will add 7 plus 2 first and then add the sum to 6. Right. So let's do it. So 6 plus 7 is 13. Now if we do 13 plus 2. So 13 plus 2 will be, so 3 plus 2 is 5. And 1 will come as it is. So we will get our answer as 15. So our answer will be 15. Now let's do the next operation. So we have 7 plus 2 first. So 7 plus 2 will be 9. And now let's do 9 plus 6. So 9 plus 6. And 9 plus 6 is 15. So you can see here also we get 15. So 15 is equal to 15 only, right? Now we can say that this operation is equal to this operation. But not only in this case, if you take any problem in addition and group the terms and then solve them, the answer on both the operations will be same. As you can see here, on both the operation we have 15 as our answer. So we can say that associative property holds true for addition. So addition holds true for associative property. Now let's see associative property of multiplication. So now let's learn associative property of multiplication. So you can group and multiply three whole numbers in any order. Now, if we consider A, B and C as whole numbers, we will take A into B into C. And again we will take A into B into C only. Again we will do the same difference here also. Here we will group A and B and here we will group B and C. So what does it mean? Again, here it means that first we will do A into B and then this product will be multiplied to C. And here we will multiply B and C first and then multiply this product to A. So this is the difference. Now let's take an example and see if it works or no. So again we will take the same numbers. 6 into 7. So here we will take multiplication as the operation. So 6 into 7 into 2 and again 6 into 7 into 2. Now here we will group 6 and 7 and here we will group 7 and 2. Now here we will do 6 into 7 first and then multiply this product to 2. And here we will multiply 7 into 2 first and then multiply this product to 6. So let's do it now. So what is 6 into 7? 6 into 7 is 42, right? So 42 into 2 we will do now. So 2 2s are 4 and 2 4s are 8. So we will get our answer as 84. Now let's do the next operation. So we have 7 into 2 first. So 7 into 2 is 14. So 14 and we will multiply it by, we'll multiply it by 6. Now 6 into 4 is 24. So 2 carry over, 4 below. And 6 ones are 6 plus 2 is 8. So we will get our answer as 84. So 84 is equal to 84 only, right? Then this operation is equal to this operation. So if you take not only this operation, if you take any operation in multiplication, group the terms and then solve, the answer will come same in both the operations. So we can conclude that associative property holds true for multiplication also. So multiplication holds true for associative property. So now let's begin with associative property of subtraction and division. So in subtraction we will do A minus B minus C. And again we will do A minus B minus C. But here we will group A and B. So first we will do A minus B and then minus it with C. And here we will do B minus C and then minus it with A. So now let's take an example to understand it better. So let's take 8 minus 4 minus 2. So again we will do 8 minus 4 minus 2 only. But here we will group 8 and 4. First we will do 8 minus 4 and then minus it with 2. And here we will do 4 minus 2 and then minus it with 8. So here, in the first operation, we have 8 minus 4. So 8 minus 4 is 4 and 4 minus 2 is 2. So our answer will be 2. And here, we will do 4 minus 2 first. So 4 minus 2 is 2 and 8 minus 2 is 6. So our answer here will be 6. So 2 and 6 are not equal, right? So this operation and this operation are also not equal. So not only this operation, if you take any operation and do subtraction by grouping, you will not get the same answer. So we can say that associative property So we can say that associative property does not hold true for subtraction. So now let's see associative property of division. So again in division also we will do A divided by B divided by C, and again we will do A divided by B divided by C. But here again we will group A and B, means we will do A divided by B first and then divided by C. And here we will do B divided by C and then divided by A. So now let's take an example. So let's take 8 divided by 4 divided by 2. And again we will do 8 divided by 4 divided by 2. Now here we will group 8 divided by 4 because we will do 8 divided by 4 and divided by 2. And here we will do 4 divided by 2 and then divided by 8. So first we will do 8 divided by 4 here. So 8 divided by 4 is 2 and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So our answer will be 1 here. And here we have 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And if we do 8 divided by 2, we will get our answer as 4. So here our answer will be 4. And 1 and 4 are not equal, right? Then this operation and this operation are also not equal. And not only this operation, if you take any operation and divide it by grouping, you will not get the same answer on both the operations. So we can say that associative property does not hold true for division and subtraction, but it holds true for addition and multiplication. So this was associative property. Now let's learn distributive property. So in distributive property, it's nothing like it holds true or does not hold true. It just makes our operations easier. Like, what does distributive property do? Let's see. Now, what is the answer to 2 into 4 plus 3? Now you can see this operation, right? This operation is there in the form of distributive property. Means, what does it mean? It means that 2 which is in the outside is getting multiplied everything that is there in the inside the brackets. Like, we have 4 and 3 right in inside, and outside we have 2. So 2 into 4 plus 2 into 3. This is the meaning of that operation. So now let's do this. So 2 into 4. So what is 2 into 4? It is 8. Now what is 2 into 3? 2 into 3 is 6. Now again we should add 8 plus 6. Okay. So if you add slowly 8 plus 6, we will get our answer as 14 at last. Now totally if we do, we got our answer as 14. Right. A lot of time took to add 8 plus 6 only, right? So now if we do this in distributive form, it will be 2 into 4 plus 3, right? Now 4 plus 3 is very easy. So 4 plus 3 will get single digit answer only, right? So it will be very easy for us to add. So 4 plus 3 will be 7. And 2 into 7, you know it in tables only, right? In two tables only we'll know. So 2 times 7 is 14, right? So we easily got our answer. 4 plus 3 is very easy to do. And 7 into 2 is very easy, right? But here it will take a lot of time if we do in the normal form, right? So you can see distributive property is nothing like hold true or does not hold true. It just makes our problems easier, right? So in both the cases only we'll get 14, but the only thing is we are able to do it quickly. So this was distributive property of multiplication over addition. So here we are doing multiplication only, but this is over addition. Here if it was subtraction sign, it will be distributive property of multiplication over subtraction. But hence here it is addition. We will do. It means that multiplication over addition is taking place in distributive property. So this was distributive property. Now let's learn identities of addition and multiplication. So additive identity. So what does it means? It means that for any number, if we take that number as A, the sum of A and 0 is equal to A only. If we do A, we can take A as any number, and if we do A plus 0, the answer will be A. So it will not change the value. A will be equal to A only, right? Now if we take A as any number, so we can take A as 7, right? So 7 plus 0 is 7 only. Means it's not changing the value. Like 7 is equal to 7 only, right? Then we can say the additive identity is 0, right? Why we can say like that? Because if we add any number with 0, it will not change the value. So we can say that the additive identity is 0. Now let's take another example. So 46,346 plus 0 will also be 46,346 only. Means 46,346 is equal to 46,346 only. So it's equal, right? It's not changing the value again. Then we can clearly say that the additive identity is 0. Not only these two numbers, you can take any numbers and add it with 0. The answer will be same. So our additive identity is 0. Now let's see multiplicative identity. So the multiplicative identity is 1. Why we can say the multiplicative identity is 1? Because A into 1. So here we are doing into, not plus. So A into 1 is A only. So A is equal to A. Right. Now if you consider A as a number and see, let's consider it as 7. So 7 into 7 will be 7 only. So it's not changing the value. 7 is equal to 7. Right. Not only this number, if we take another number like 46,346 into 1, it will be 46,346 only. Means here also it's not changing the value. Right, it's 46,346 is equal to 46,346. But if we do the same with 0, right, why can't we do it with 0? Let's see. Now if we take 7 only, it's a small number, right, it will be easy. So 7 into 0. So 7 into 0 will be 0, right? So 7 is not equal to 0, right? So we can't say the multiplicative identity is 0. We can't say like that. Multiplicative identity is 1 and additive identity is 0. So this was identities. Now let's learn patterns in whole numbers. So all whole numbers can be arranged in a line. Like if we talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. See, 1 can be arranged in a line. 2 can be arranged in a line, right? 3 also, 4, 5, 6. So you can see this is a line only, right? So all whole numbers can be arranged in a line. So why are we representing here as dots? So these dots represents the number, right? So you can see here only one dot is there. So it represents 1. Here 6 dots are there. If you count it properly, we have 6 dots. So it represents 6, the number 6. And if you take 23 also, it can also be arranged in a line, right? So even if you take a big number also, it can be arranged in a line, right? So all whole numbers can be arranged in a line. Now only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle. Like as I said, all whole numbers can be arranged as a line. But for triangle, only some whole numbers, not all, only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle. So examples for a triangle number will be 3, 6 and 10. These are just some examples. There are more numbers which can be arranged as a triangle, but only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle. And these numbers are just examples. So if we talk about 3, here also we are representing in dots only for triangle also, right? Right. So here you can see it represents a triangle, right? And this dots represents 3, the number 3. And again for 6 also, you can see here we are drawing a triangle, right? And for 10 also, it can be arranged as a triangle. But if we talk about 4, right? Let's take 4. Why we can't say 4 as a triangular number, right? Now we have 4. So the first row will be having 3 dots. So 1, 2, 3. So we arranged 3, right? So 4 minus 3 is 1. So only one dot is remaining still. So if we arrange one dot, is this a triangle? It's a irregular shape, right? This is not a triangle, it's an irregular shape, right? So 4 is a square number and it's not a triangle number actually, right? So only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle. Not all, only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle. So like numbers, as I said, 4 and 9 are arranged as a square, not a triangle. They can't be arranged as a triangle, but they can be arranged as a square, right? So for 4 it will be 2 into 2, and for 9 it will be 3 into 3, right? So you can see a square is forming in both the numbers. A square is forming. Now, like numbers 6 and all can be arranged as a triangle and square also. So if we see here, 6 can be arranged as a triangle, as I said, and it can also be arranged as a rectangle. It can be arranged as a triangle and rectangle. And in rectangle also, it can be arranged in two forms. One is in vertical form and the other is horizontal form. So one is vertical and the other is horizontal form. So the vertical form will be 3 into 2 and the horizontal form will be 2 into 3. Right. Now if we talk about 12, 12 can also be arranged as a rectangle in two forms. So you can see 3 into 4 is the first form and 2 into 6 is the second form. So you can see in both the forms we are able to arrange it as a rectangle, right? So we can say that 12 can also be arranged as a rectangle. Now we can totally conclude that all whole numbers can be arranged as a line and only some whole numbers can be arranged as a triangle, rectangle and square. So this was patterns in whole numbers. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.